How would you like to teach sex ed?
Well,
Ooh, that's a good question.
uh,
It's funny how you pause.
I don't know. I think there would certainly be awkward moments. Like the answering of the question is an awkward moment.
I would feel pretty nervous. That's a pretty heavy subject.
What would be your hesitations?
Well, just I don't know the curriculum or how it's done, so I'd like to have a little help, sort of, knowing what to say, what to do.
Actually, it is okay to not feel like an expert in the material. The OWL training will give you a lot of information, and the really important thing about being an OWL facilitator is that you have a desire to keep learning and keep expanding your knowledge base. And the only qualification really is that you are willing to do this job and to talk to kids about this stuff because it's important.
I would worry that anything I say they would interpret as this is how my sex life is, and that's not necessarily something I want to share with children.
Actually, the ability to maintain appropriate personal boundaries is a strength in facilitators. Good facilitators should be able to separate their own personal stories and journey from their role as facilitators, because this should be about the students, not the facilitators. So that's why from day one, the ground rule is that facilitators will answer any questions about sexuality, but they will not answer any questions about their own personal sex lives. I do, however, recommend working on a good poker face because you don't want to inadvertently convey your feelings about a topic, and you certainly don't want to make any topic seem taboo or shameful.
What would be your hesitations?
The awkwardness for sure, but also that I have kids who are either in the age group or nearing the age group for that kind of education. And so for me, teaching my own kids in a classroom setting would be pretty awkward and icky.
Actually, that's a really good concern. I have kids, 4th grade and 6th grade now, and I also didn't want to be their teacher and be in their classroom, but because there are so many different age groups of OWL, I have the opportunity to teach ages that my children are not. One of the reasons we need more OWL teachers is so that people like me who've been teaching OWL, whose children are now going to be in the 7th and 9th grade OWL class, can step out and let new people come in and teach.
Well, I know OWL is a huge commitment, time-wise and effort-wise, so that would be one hesitation I might have.
Actually, it's really not that bad. The K1, for example, is only 8 sessions, and the 4th through 6th grade is only 12 sessions.
That's 8 to 12 sessions. That sounds like a lot of time, a lot of class. I don't know that I'm ready for a whole class.
Well, actually, if you get trained, one of the things you can do is you could sub and just kind of assist the first time. Another time you might be able to say, hey, this is something I feel really comfortable with this material, and test out your ability to be in the classroom.
But is it all going to be on me though for that whole 8 to 12 sessions or that whole class?
Actually, you'd be part of a great teaching team, and the more teachers that we have, the more we can distribute the work and keep everybody from burning out.
So some hesitations might be that how does my life experience differ from what I need to teach?
Actually, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex. Well, I think people get uncomfortable talking about sex, and that's just one of those things. Our young people need us to be open and frank and honest about sex and sexuality. And also, there is enjoyment, and there is also a lot of other issues around it. Thanks.
I signed up to become an OWL facilitator because I believe in comprehensive sex education. But I don't think I really realized what I was getting into until I was driving to another state to participate in a weekend-long retreat, talking to a bunch of strangers about sexuality. And I started to think, I'm going to be a sex ed teacher? That doesn't sound like something I would do. And so I started the retreat the way most of our OWL students start OWL class. Head down, don't make eye contact, don't talk, get out your coloring pencils and just keep coloring. About an hour into the retreat, I was enthralled with the curriculum because I realized that it encompasses so many of my values that I care deeply about. First of all, diversity and inclusion, especially for the whole range of gender and sexual diversity, but also for intersex individuals, disabled individuals, people whose experiences are often omitted from traditional sex ed classes. But there's also so many other issues I care about, like sexual assault prevention, through comprehensive consent education, through teaching about healthy relationships and what those look like, by examining power dynamics in relationships. It's also about anti-bullying, a whole workshop on anti-bullying because so much bullying is related to sex and sexuality. It's also about breaking down harmful gender role stereotypes, harmful body image expectations, really critically examining media messages about bodies and sex and sexuality so that students can make their own informed choices that are not based on myths and stereotypes. So teaching OWL is putting my values into action.
In terms of actually teaching, I have really loved teaching the middle schoolers over the past few years. Even though my own children, or maybe especially because my own children were even younger, I learned so much about that 7th to 9th grade age, how great they are, the way they bring their humor and their vulnerability and their intelligence and their questions and their deflections to class, and really push me to constantly think more deeply about sex education, about education in general, and about the possibilities that kids these age have for contributing to all the rest of us.
Trained facilitators allow for us to have a strong program, which is life-changing and life-saving work. I don't say that lightly. So let me say that again, life-changing and life-saving work. When you are taught about gender, about sexual orientation, about body positivity in very positive, affirming language, starting from a young age and having that reinforced over and over again during your time while you're at church. And let's just say you hear this information at church. So that instantly starts to make church this place where, wow, they're willing to talk to me about big life things, meaningful things here at church. And I often find that I will ask children, youth, even their parents and caregivers throughout their time while they're in our religious exploration program, who is a trusted adult in your child's life? And time again, whether it's from the children, whether it's from the adults in their life, it will be their OWL facilitator. And that is something they carry with them long after they walk out of the doors of this building.
It seems like it's something that if you feel strongly that kids have accurate information, which I really do, there shouldn't be hesitation. I wouldn't hesitate if I knew there was a need and I could fill that need.